Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Greatly appreciate you stopping by. It's been 5 months since I purchased my NOCO Genius 5 battery charger maintainer. Today I wanted to go over my experience with it and also address some comments that have been made in the previous video that I made on this when I bought it and showed you how to use it that I think would be able to help all of us. Let's jump right into it. I mainly bought it to put on my Mustang because it'll sit through the winter, but I have found that I have pulled it off and used it on other things throughout this winter as well. So first things first, no issues with it on my Mustang. It has done fantastic. It's done everything I wanted it to do and expected. One thing I did do, my truck battery was starting to get a little weak in the cold weather this winter. So I got a chance to plug this in and hook it up to try to rejuvenate the battery. It wasn't that it was completely dead, it just turned over a little slow and the battery's not that old. So I went ahead and put it on. I got it all hooked up. It sat out there for 4 days on there, doing a slow charge and a maintain on the battery to optimize it, and it did fantastic. The truck didn't have any more issues with slow turnover. It is now almost April. I did that back in December, so I've gotten 3-4 months of absolutely zero issues with that battery up until just this week. It kind of started to turn over slow, but it has also been sitting, and I don't put this on there. It just kind of sits outside. It gets moved around the yard, and that's about the extent of it unless I got to run the lows. Also, my battery on my lawnmower, I have the worst luck with lawnmower batteries. It was completely dead, click, click, no turnover, nothing. So I took this out there for 2 days. It was below freezing, just like it was whenever I did my truck. Put it on there, let it go through, do its thing, and the battery worked fantastic. I got another couple of months before it did it again. I put it back on, it revived it again, and the battery's been fine ever since. So we know it will work below freezing temperatures. Tried it on my truck, tried it on my lawnmower, so we're good there. Next thing, you'll notice that right here, the cable is electrical taped. I didn't do that because the cable broke. I did that because the cable had some kinking to it. So I went ahead, I created, this is what you would normally call a strain relief. In my world of work, strain reliefs break, cables break at the strain relief. It's just from flexing back and forth, so it's just natural. So as soon as I started seeing kinking on this side, I actually went ahead and wrapped it up just to give it a little bit more structural rigidity, just so it didn't bend down real easy and actually eventually break. I did that, so this might be something to do to future-proof. Just give it a little bit of a wrap with some electrical tape to give it some structural rigidity, so that's why that's on there. It's not broke, it's still no issue, just something I did as a precaution moving forward. So I will show you how I did that. I've noticed that there's a little bit of kinking right here, right at the strain relief on the 12-volt side. So I'm going to go ahead, use some simple electrical tape, and we're going to create a little bit better strain relief on this to kind of give it some body. So we'll start right here. I'm going to go right over the original plastic strain relief here that they have, wrap it around a couple times, and then just start working my way down. What this is going to do is give this a little bit extra stability there, so it bends a little bit, but it doesn't bend so much that it creates a break point. It doesn't look pretty, but it's a very viable solution. I've done this with other things too. This is kind of a common point of really anything, is it can break at the strain relief whenever you start wrapping them up too tight or start bending them or using them a lot. This is kind of it can be a failure point on any device of any sort. So keep this in mind. So I'll go ahead and wrap that up. I went down once, come back, go down a couple more. Go down one more time here. I know this is a lot of electrical tape, but what we're doing is building it up for body. And then always cut your electrical tape, never just pull it. Otherwise it'll try to peel back off. We don't want that. There we go. So go ahead and do that. Now you can see this has got a little bit more structure, rigidity to it. So it isn't pulling right here at this point. It's kind of giving a little bit more bend there. Overall bend, so that'll save in this area. So definitely something to consider. All right, now that I showed you how I put the electrical tape on here, showed you the kinking that was starting to happen, next I want to give a shout out to Matthew for the original video. He pointed out that I use the M6 eyelets on my Mustang. I bought them separately to put on there. I'll put them up on screen now so you can see what they were. I use those on my Mustang, and then I use the clamps separately. Something I didn't realize, and you can actually, this lead here on these clamps is actually the M6 eyelets. All you got to do is pull these screws here. So you don't actually have to buy another set. In my case, because I'm using this on multiple vehicles, mainly on my Mustang I have the eyelets on there. But like in my pickup truck, I use the clamps. My lawnmower, I use the clamps. I want to be able to use the clamps. So I don't want to have to worry about putting the clamps on and off. But if you just have one vehicle, you're only going to use this on one vehicle, I will show you now how to take these off. You will need a 3mm Allen wrench. And it's as simple as put it on, righty tighty, lefty loosey, pull the screw. Do that on the negative side as well. There are the M6 eyelets. All right, now that I showed you how to take the screws out to make these M6 eyelets out of your clamps that came with your Genius, let's move on to the next thing. I want to give a shout out to Josh from the comments of my last video as well. He mentioned that a lot of people say this is for mounting on the wall, including me. But this is actually, and it was very interesting, this is actually for mounting in the car. So the NOCO makes the Genius 2D, which means direct mount. That's what the D stands for. They have included this with the NOCO Genius 5, so you can do the same thing. So what you'll do is, rather than mounting this on the wall like I thought, which you can still do, these actually comes with self-tappers. Self-tapping screws, so you don't have to have no drill bits. So what you'll do is you'll use a drill, find a place under the hood that it's safe, out of harm's way, close to the battery, and you can get the AC plug routed through. You will actually use this. This will actually drill a hole into, say, a fender or a firewall, and it'll mount just like this. So when you get it mounted on there, you can actually take the NOCO, put it right on in there, put your strap on, and this holds it in tight. Now, once you get it in there, you might be wondering the settings. You have to pop your hood to deal with your settings. I thought that too. I mentioned that to Josh myself. I said, even though I can mount it under the hood, I still have to pop the hood once I plug it in and go through the settings. He brought up that this actually has a memory feature. So I will show you how this works now, so you can use this without popping the hood. So if this is underneath the hood mounted and you had the power cord run out, you'd initially set up your modes. I'll show you that now. So it would normally be off. Go ahead. I've got it hooked up to just a standard 12-volt battery. Give it a second, and you'll see the bar up there for charging. Now, after you do that, you don't have to do nothing more. If you have this routed outside, you can just leave the hood shut, and when you unplug it, it shuts off. Go about your business. You come home, and you need to plug this back in. You just plug it in from outside the car, and it will remember the last mode you were in. So you will see right here that it's still on 12 volt, and there's a progress bar. All right, now that I showed you the memory feature on this, where you just plug it in and unplug it, plug it back in, and it holds the setting that you had last, I want to bring up that this can be, it was quite a few times asked to me in the comments of the original video of, can the battery be in or out of the car? It doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt anything. You don't have to unhook it. I've had it hooked up to my Mustang all through the winter with the battery hooked right up. I've never disconnected it. I used the eyelets. I just plugged it in and ran with it. I've had no issues. I've had the car out a couple times. It's shown no signs of any issues. So no worries there. Also, this works on multiple different styles of battery. So it works on your standard normal lead acid battery. It works on an Agm battery. It works on a lithium battery, and it also works on a 6-volt battery. I had that asked quite a bit. I thought I covered it, but maybe I didn't. My apologies if I didn't, so I want to just make that clear now. And that brings me to the final comment that I worked with somebody in the comments of the original video. His name was Chris Shout out to him for bringing this up. I was able to do some research, and it looks like between me and him, we were able to straighten it out. So it looks like Nissan has had issues with when you hook things up to the battery, such as chargers, boost boxes, anything like that. It sets the alarm system off. So what you can do, something to try, is either if you got a key fob, unlock it with a key fob. It should stop. Or you can actually stick the key in the door and unlock it that way, and that should turn that off. So that should take care of any issues you're having there. So that's something with Nissans that we'd ran into. So I want to thank Chris for reaching out to me, and it was great working with you through that. So as of for now, I'll tell you what, I love this thing. I think I'm going to get the NOCO Genius 1 for the lawnmower. So whenever it's sitting out all winter, I don't have to worry about it. I have to take this out and revive the battery. I'll probably just leave it plugged in all the time. And I may get the 10 once I get this truck done back here. It's got to have a much bigger battery, so I want to keep those maintained. Those are the ones underneath the workbench right now. So greatly appreciate you tuning in. I hope this update's been great. If there is some more stuff that I run into moving forward, I'll make sure to do another update. Greatly appreciate it. And once again, I'll leave everything down in the description for this video, for this and some of their other options that they have on Amazon. And also I will leave a link to the original video right here, so you can take a look at it. My original show you how to. Greatly appreciate you stopping by, and have a great day.